You're going to have an emotional breakthrough when you do this. When you invite these parts closer, you're going to have an aha moment and realize, oh my God, this part of me that was trying to get me to operate out of fear just needed this all along. Okay, I've never done anything like this before, so bear with me. I'm new to tarot and doing readings for other people. I've been practicing them and I've been doing a pretty good job. So I thought I would have my little morning coffee and pull some cards for myself, which if you clicked on this video, they're likely also a message for you. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I'm blown away by collective readings and the way that one message that resonates for somebody else that's like not specifically done for me can resonate so deeply and have so many synchronicities. Which, speaking of, sunflowers have been a huge sign in my life lately, so I thought I would do my sunflower mug. I made a nice oat milk latte, and yeah, let's get into it. So I want to get like an overall theme for this week, which is timeless anytime you're listening to this coming week. So what do I and what does the collective need to know about this upcoming week? Got the Great Gathering. It's all coming together. Intuitive hits. Soul Tribe. Let me pull some more cards, but this is the overall theme for this week. You know, actually, even looking at this, I feel like all of these people, like the Great Gathering, Soul Tribe, it's all coming together. I'm actually more so feeling that like all of these images of people are different parts of you coming back together. And it's like all of the different parts of you that were maybe once at war with yourself or fighting against yourself, wanting different things, the part of you that wanted to move forward in this new energy, and the part of you that was stuck in your trauma and in your past and in these narratives. There are so many different parts of you that maybe have been kind of playing tug of war and keeping you stuck. And I think the theme for this week, if it'll focus, is all of these parts of you kind of coming together and facing each other again, listening to each other, finding out, what does this part of me, what value do they have? What have they been trying to protect me from? What have they been trying to help me build towards in some way? Yeah, so I think that's the overall theme. Now I'm going to pull some from just like the traditional tarot to find out, how can we create this harmonious union within ourselves? How can we bring all of these parts that maybe have been kind of wanting to go in different directions, fighting against each other? How can we bring them into union? How can we find wholeness and deeper connection? Don't watch the way that I shuffle, because I like truly don't know what I'm doing. Yes, I do. I know what I'm doing, but I'm feeling okay. These three. And then I want to ask, what will be the outcome? Okay. Okay. So we have the Two of Wands, the Ace of Swords, the Ace of Cups, and then I'm going to keep the outcome card a secret. Okay, so for the Two of Wands, I feel like that little ball in his hand, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but to me it like looks almost like the world in his hand. And he has this wand in his hand and he's super passionate about it, but back here he has this other wand that is behind him. And I think to me the wand that is behind him kind of represents like an old way of doing things, an old way of pursuing your passions. And you know, to me, the old way is like a very mind dominated approach that maybe has been governed by some parts of you who don't believe that you could pursue your passions and create success from that. So I think these two options are like two different ways that you could pursue your passions. One is by listening to the more wounded parts of yourself who really want you to be very calculated, who really want you to plan and to kind of discern with your mind which of these passions should I follow that will ultimately create the most tangible form of success for me, that I can predict in my mind will lead me to success. But what we don't realize is that when we're taking action from these wounded parts of ourselves, it's like we're not operating from our fullest power. And those parts of ourselves are operating trying to run away from past hurts. So they're trying to figure out, oh, how can I create to avoid feeling discomfort? How can I create to become successful so that all of the people who hurt me will finally see that I'm doing well, that I'm abundant in life, that I'm successful, and then I can finally feel like vindicated from my past hurts. And we think that that's like the solution to our problems. But what I see here is that this guy, there's a motorcycle. What I can see here is he's turned his back on those past ways of doing things. He's turned towards the world. He has the world in the palm of his hands. He's feeling passionate. He has this new idea, or maybe several new ideas that he wants to move towards. But it's like he's just kind of stuck there looking at it, which I can totally relate to. Like, I've been in this place for a while where I've been like looking at my options, really wanting to take action from this new, passionate, aligned place within me, but just kind of feeling stuck between those two options. Like, maybe I should be a little bit more calculated. Maybe I should kind of try to listen to what others might want of me in order to decide what I'm going to create, what I'm going to spend my time focusing on. But I feel like the part of you that wants to move towards what you're passionate about will not go back. And so you've been maybe a little bit at a standstill, at this in-between place where you're not going to take action based in fear anymore, based on what those wounded parts of you want you to do. But you're feeling a little bit of hesitancy towards moving towards this new way of doing things, this new way of pursuing your passions. Okay, and then we have the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Cups. And seeing these right next to each other, I feel like this week, if you can go into I feel like this... There's a dog that keeps barking every single time I speak. I feel like if you can go into a place of stillness, which maybe there's been a lot of interruptions, that dog barking makes me think every time maybe you get into this place of stillness, there's some type of interruption, whether it's internal or external. But I know it's annoying, like meditate, but like go into a place of stillness, because you're going to have a big breakthrough, not just mentally, but emotionally too. Like, it's like one leads to the other. You're going to have this new idea, this new way of doing things that helps that past version of you to feel safe. Actually, you know what I'm thinking? I think the emotional breakthrough is going to come first. This is going to come first, and you're going to realize what that other part of you needed, what that wounded part of you needed, and you're going to give that to yourself. You're going to have this breakthrough. Ask yourself, these parts of me that are clinging onto control of my life, that are trying to get me to use logic to pursue my passions right now, that are trying to get me to use logic to avoid failure, what are these parts of me needing the most? What did they need to hear in the moments where I did feel like a failure, where I was rejected, where I didn't necessarily have the outcome that I wanted? What did they need to hear, and what did they need to feel from my parents, from the people around me, from me? When I talk about these parts of you, I'm talking about the wounded inner child within you who tried from this like really blissful place, from this open-minded, wanting to explore, wanting to create, and then experienced failure and judgment and rejection. How can you approach that part of you with more love? How can you offer them what they needed at that time to keep that purity, that innocence, and that excitement and passion for life alive, and to keep them out of their heads trying to stay in survival mode, trying to operate from a way that helps them to avoid failure or possible rejection? I think you're going to be creating a new strength within you around rejection and around fear of judgment, where you learn to give yourself what you needed in those moments to create that strength within you. I've been seeing the strength card a lot. What do you need to tell yourself, and how do you, more importantly, how do you need to feel towards yourself? How can you feel more compassionate and loving towards the parts of you who experienced failure and therefore internal and external rejection in the past? And how can you bring them back? Let's all face each other and look at each other, and as this loving adult that I am now, how can I invite this part of me closer and give that part of me what you need? You're going to have an emotional breakthrough when you do this. When you invite these parts closer, you're going to have an aha moment and realize, oh my God, this part of me that was trying to get me to operate out of fear just needed this all along. They just needed me to love them more at a deeper level, to see the pain that they went through and understand how deeply painful it was to experience that rejection, to try and feel so excited and, lose my sense of passion. How deeply can you hold yourself in that? Because the deeper you can hold yourself in that, you're going to have an emotional breakthrough. You're going to feel like a bursting in your heart of this freedom and this new level of self-acceptance that is addressing a core wound that you had in your childhood. And from that, you're going to have a massive new idea, a divinely gifted idea, because when you clear away that self-judgment, when you clear away, I'm laughing because right now I'm realizing this is what I did this morning to be able to feel comfortable making this video even. When you clear away self-judgment and shitting on your own ideas, essentially, when you have enough safety within yourself to honor your ideas, you create a clearer channel for divinely inspired messages to move through you. So when you give yourself, it just takes a little bit of time. Sit with yourself in meditation and imagine you're having this great gathering with all of these parts of yourself, and you want to know these parts. You don't want to control them. You don't even want to turn your back on their ideas. You imagine this guy turning around and looking at the idea that your wounded self has and say, I understand why you want me to choose that. But let's go a little bit deeper. Be your own therapist or mentor or parent. Let's go a little bit deeper. Why do you want me to take action out of fear? Why do you want to have all of the answers before we begin this new passion project? Why? And then you might start to hear, well, I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of rejection. I'm afraid of this. And if you can just hold yourself without trying to change that part of you, without judging, and just really understand, and then ask, how can I give you that love? How can I give you that safety? I want you to know, speaking to yourself, that no matter what, I will be here for you. And I'm not going to give up on you again. Maybe you gave up on yourself in the past, and maybe you tried to conform and you spent the rest of your life trying to figure out who you needed to be so you never would experience that pain or that rejection again. But when you actively soothe and love on the part of yourself that gave up on yourself, you can realize and have the strength to realize that every failure you've ever experienced has taught you a valuable lesson. I know that might sound cliche, but it's every experience of self-rejection that you've had in the past has led you to this moment where you are now recognizing that that took away your power, and you have the power to give back to yourself in the way that you need, to speak to yourself kindly, to love on yourself, and to remind yourself that you didn't do anything wrong. Society views messing up as this horrible thing that we should avoid at all costs because so many of us are living in our egos, but messing up is literally just part of the process of learning. And we have the power at any moment to shift and to create enough safety within ourselves to see it that way, and to see it as you learning more about yourself and learning more about this experience. And the more love and compassion you can have towards yourself, the faster this idea is going to come in. And it's like these two breakthroughs coincide with each other, and they're like dancing with each other. And then that's going to lead to the Page of Cups. I'm feeling like this is like a return to innocence, a return to emotional openness, innocence, willingness to try new things, that a return to that inner child part of you who was really willing and open to kind of wear your heart on your sleeve, to be yourself, to show who you truly are when you hadn't been so scarred by the world. It will reignite your curiosity and your ability to try new passions without that narrative of self-judgment. It's like this return to innocence is like you before you started judging yourself and being cruel to yourself. It's like a child who, is running and playing, and then they fall and they cry for a second and they get back up and they forget that they fell because they're just so in the moment, and they're so willing to be new at things, to try things again, because that internal criticism isn't yet there. It's a return to that level of innocence, but, and this is just purely intuitive of what I'm getting, because of what you've been through, it's not like a naivety. It's you returning to innocence as a choice, because you know that that's the way that you want to live your life. You understanding that your sensitivities are a gift. So I'm really feeling like you opening up to understanding your sensitivities are your psychic abilities, and they're here to help you and guide you through your life. But it's like a return to innocence by choice that is combined with this wisdom that comes from the experiences that you've had. You're not that little kid anymore who is just going out into the world so vulnerable with no idea how to protect yourself or take care of yourself. It's innocent by choice. It's optimism by choice. It's being willing to be your true, sensitive, loving, compassionate self by choice, knowing that there is going to be hurt that comes, but that you'll be able to hold yourself in that. And therefore, you get to keep this childlike optimism in your life. And it's like, I'm seeing that when we're kids, we are such divine creators. We're such powerful manifestors because we don't have a lot of that like bullshit in our way. So I want to pull a few cards as to like, what will this Page of Cups energy, this childlike optimism, lead to? Because I'm already feeling like it's going to be a return to your psychic abilities for sure, because you're not going to be suppressing your sensitivities, and that's really what our psychic abilities are. So what will this Page of Cups energy help us to create in our lives? Okay, so we have the Eight of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles as an answer to what will come from this Page of Cups, optimistic, childlike, return to innocence and wisdom energy. So for the Eight of Cups, I'm just seeing the ability to walk away from those past patterns. You're going to walk away from them and walk towards something that is more emotionally fulfilling for you. You're going to walk, like I see all of these cups, these are like past hurts and traumas. And I almost feel like, they're not filled with any water. The emotional charge of those things have been drained, and you are now able to walk towards your fulfillment. You're now able to walk towards your destiny. And the Knight of Pentacles is just like a very slow and grounded approach to doing that. Maybe understanding that as you do walk towards your destiny, you might have some of these emotional triggers come up, but you're walking towards it now, and you're not going to let those emotional triggers get you to turn around on this path. This Knight is very slow and steady, moving towards what you want, moving towards bringing that spark of passion that was from this Two of Wands energy. It's like being able to bring that into the physical, and you're going to move away from those past patterns of taking action based on your wounds, because you are emotionally clear and you're starting to move towards a more fulfilling, optimistic future, but it's in a very grounded way where you're moving slow and steady towards this beautiful outcome. And then we have the Page of Wands and the Knight of Wands. So I'm feeling like the passion is going to be really re-sparked through this process. It might start off slow here as you start to walk away from that old pattern of, taking fear-based action, doing things the logical way, doing things the way that you think you should. It's going to be kind of slow and steady for a little bit as you move away from that. It's like showing that past version of yourself, we're safe. We're safe to do it this way, and I'll go at your pace. But eventually, as you start to move towards your passion, towards the sun again, you're going to get more and more curious because it's going to start to feel really good. And so you're going to have this spark of creativity within you that eventually leads you to be like unstoppable, where you're going to just start to want to create the way that you need water and food throughout the day. This passion of yours, you're going to just start running towards it, and it's going to feel so good. It's going to feel like, oh, this is the feeling. I waited my whole life to feel this passionate about something, this excited about something again. And to be honest, you're going to be really good at it. I just feel that from this card. It's like he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's going after. He knows that when he works from this aligned, passionate, creative space within himself, that everything he touches turns to gold, and he's running for that. He's charging after it now. He's unstoppable. You're unstoppable in this pursuit. And so the last two cards I pulled we have a bee. Hello. Okay, the last two cards I pulled are Answer the Call, what is your soul calling you to do? And Sisterhood of the Rose, Beauty, Devotion, Mystic, Teacher. So for those of you who are called to this video, that Knight of Wands charging passionately energy is like your soul finally calling to you. It's like the communication is clear. It's pulling you. There's no trauma really holding you back anymore, weighing you down. There's divine union within yourself here, reconnection to all parts of you that allows you to answer the call where your soul is calling you towards. And it's likely that calling is something to do with you being a teacher, a mystic, your psychic abilities coming online. I feel like if you're here, you're probably multi-passionate. So finding beauty in the parts of you that maybe seemed a little bit ungrounded and unsure before, and like recognizing that all of these passions that you have can come together in a beautiful way, and you're just devoted to passion. You're devoted to that spark of childlike energy, that innocence, that part of you that came to this earth so passionate, already knowing what your purpose was here. You might have gotten a little distracted along the way because of some pain, but there's going to be a return not only to that innocence, but an activation of your true soul gifts, your true soul calling. And I see it being many things that you pursue and that make you feel alive, make you feel like you're breathing more deeply again, like you remember why your soul is here on earth. And yeah, I see you being a very powerful leader, a powerful teacher, in whatever way that you're meant to do that. It's going to be beautiful, and you're going to feel this inner devotion towards pursuing these gifts, and you're just going to be on fire, running towards your dreams, and it's never going to stop, because what you're unlocking here is a deep connection to your soul, to your calling, to your purpose, and you will always hear and recognize what it feels like if that direction changes. You're going to be fluid. You're going to be able to flow with it, and I don't really think you're ever going to have to feel stuck or lost again, because it's like you've learned what to do. When you feel stuck and confused, it's because there are parts of you that aren't understanding each other. And as you see all of these people coming into this union, looking at each other, all of these parts of you facing each other again, you're going to understand that anytime you feel stuck, it's because there's a part of you that is being exiled, left out in the cold, not understood, not heard. You're going to know how to take care of that part of you, and you're going to have new emotional breakthroughs every single time you do it. So overall, I feel like the energy for this week in particular that will lead to this overall fire being ignited again is that, first of all, it's going to be a slow and steady process, but the first step is to understand that there are certain parts of you that are not feeling heard right now, that need you to go inward and to acknowledge them. So I would ask yourself, what am I afraid of right now? What am I trying to take action in order to avoid? And how can I presence those parts emotionally? And then that's going to lead to this Ace of Swords moment, this big breakthrough coming in, and the return to innocence again, which is going to be like the spark, the catalyst in this massive success for you by answering your soul calling, because you're going to feel safe enough to do that again. But when you return to this Page of Cups innocence energy, it's going to be slow and steady at first as you walk away from those past ways of doing things, those past hurts that have no more emotional charge to them. You're going to move slow and steady to bringing your passions into physical form. And then once you figure out that physical form too, the passion can just take over. You can start with that like creative spark being renewed because you've figured out how to bring your passion into physical form. You have this new innocent, alive energy, and then you're just gonna run with it. And that's when you're gonna answer the call and become the priestess, mystic, teacher, devoted to your craft, living in alignment. This is giving very divine feminine energy, so you're going to find a way to do it that just feels like play, that return to innocence, reigniting the play in you, and yeah, you're going to love it. So I see like this happening within the next year. Let it take time, and any part of you that is rushing yourself is just like an emotional charge that needs to be addressed, so that you can move slow and steady at first, build this physical foundation for your passions to be channeled through, then you can run for it. Any rush you feel that's coming from an uncomfortable place of fear within you, that's another sign. Just go back in meditation, hold yourself in that, and make sure you're coming from that really grounded, aligned, connected place, because I think this energy of innocence and play and inner child connection is what is going to allow this to feel so sustainable for you and so joyful. Like you would literally choose to do it no matter what. So thank you so much for tuning into my first ever reading. If I post it, I hope I do. I think I will post it because it's part of, I feel like I'm in this process right now. The emotional wounds are not really charged anymore, and I'm going to slowly and steadily move towards this dream that I have of letting my life be play, letting my life be free, exploring my multi-passionate self. And yeah, I'm so grateful to have you here with me on this journey, whoever you are. I would love to know in the comments what resonated for you, any questions you might have, if you liked this style of reading that I did. Yeah, I would absolutely love to know. Thank you so, so much for being here on my channel. Thank you for your likes, your subscribes, your comments. They all mean so much to me. Also, one more thing, if you're wanting to learn how to read tarot for yourself, she did not ask me to say this, but I just feel called that I did take my mentor's Tarot 101 course, and it's been so helpful because when I have specific questions from like readings that I listen to, or just specific questions in my daily life, if I have a weird dream and I want to know about it, I'm actually able to like answer my questions so much more directly instead of listening to general readings. Like, I'm able to really either add on to them with my own readings or just answer questions for myself. So if you're wanting to learn tarot, I highly recommend. I'll leave the link to that in the description below. And yeah, thanks so much for being here. I will see you in the next video. Bye.